Welcome back, folks. I'm Frizz, and today I'd like to take some time to talk about subclasses in Pathfinder 2e. They can really impact how your character works, depending on the class you're playing, and I really like the direction that Paizo took when they were designing them. Now, something that I feel like I should clarify is that subclasses aren't technically a thing in 2e. Like, the term is never used in the rulebook. It's just a term that people on the internet have used to describe elements that some classes have that others don't. Like, fighters and monks don't have anything resembling a subclass. Yeah, they fight differently depending on whether or not they're focused on strength or dexterity, and stances are sort of like subclasses for monks, but there isn't a class feature which you have to choose at level 1 that is character defining. This works in the favor of 2e in my opinion, as it starts a trend of subclasses not dominating any particular class identities. A fighter is just a fighter. Just because your rogue isn't a scoundrel, it doesn't mean that they can't pick locks or intimidate people. Subclasses don't define classes anymore, which is a huge breath of fresh air when compared to D&D 5th edition. Paizo made sure that subclasses wouldn't be overpowering in multiple ways, so let's talk about those. First off, most subclasses don't actually give a huge amount of mechanical stuff. I mean, really, when it comes down to it, there's only one or two mechanical differences between two rogues with different rogue rackets. Rogues are obviously an extreme example, since literally none of their feats have rackets as a prerequisite, but my point still stands for other classes. Barbarians aren't locked into a particular playstyle based on their instinct. They just beat the life out of things in slightly different ways based on their instincts. This isn't to say that subclass choice doesn't matter. On the contrary, choosing what path to take down a particular class has an insanely big impact, as the name of the game in 2e is that small changes can have big consequences. If you're building for it, there can absolutely be a huge difference between two rogues that have different rackets. Rather, it's that it isn't mandated that rogues with different rackets must be fundamentally different. You get a hell of a lot more choices in character creation in 2e, and choosing a subclass is just one of those. It's a big decision, but it's not the only important decision. The other way that Paizo makes sure that subclasses aren't overpowering in character creation is by making them give bonuses but not restricting actions. Take swashbuckler styles, for example. If you're a bracket swashbuckler, you're obviously encouraged to try and use Demoralize more often in combat. But there's absolutely nothing to stop you from trying to feint someone, even if you aren't a fencer swashbuckler. This is true for everybody. You get bonuses for taking particular actions or fighting styles, but there's nothing stopping you from using other actions or other fighting styles. Now, there is an exception to everything that I've said up to this point in this video, because clerics are just weird, man. Clerics have the most impactful choice of subclass in the entire system, and it changes basically everything about your character. Choosing between a cloister cleric and a war priest will change everything about how you fight in combat, and often it'll change a lot about how you roleplay your character. And it's at the point where I think that war priest and cloister cleric could be two separate classes, and people would probably be ecstatic. They change so much about your proficiencies, for better or for worse. To be honest, choosing a cleric doctrine almost feels like you're picking a subclass in D&D 5e, where you make your most important decision for your character at level 1. Ultimately, I think that it's obvious that I like how 2e handles their subclasses. They obviously have a mechanical impact on how a class feels to roleplay and fight with. They don't completely dominate a class's identity. Really, I feel like Paizo managed to knock it out of the park with subclass design in 2e, and I couldn't be happier about it. Thanks for watching. I know that I must have missed something in this one, since I'm in no way familiar with every class and every subclass in this game. So let me know in a comment if you think that I got something wrong or overlooked something. Regardless, until I see you next, live a wonderful life.